Okay, so the battery died out, but yeah, that's the idea behind what these people were telling in this podcast, which actually I can try to search here. Doesn't appear to. Maybe it's in my phone, but well, that's the idea, and I think it makes a lot of sense. Um, if you think about the way or at least what neuroscience teaches about the neural pathways, it makes sense that the easiest way to stop is just stop and not relapse again. Because when you relapse, and especially when this kind of behavior or the behavior you want to change has such a powerful reward, right? And that's why I think masturbation is fundamentally harder than pornography to overcome, because um, sorry, because pornography, for me at least, it never quite feels right. It never feels right. It never feels like, you know, really like pleasurable. It always has some thing, some hurt to it. And actually, if you do the external things that I said before, and you actually just can't access to pornography, you'll find out yourself, sadly, masturbating to just nothing, relapsing in masturbation, sometimes even without imagining anything. And I guess that's good. But then you realize, okay, I cannot do the same for masturbation. You can block your phone, you can block your computer, you can essentially rid yourself of any pornographic material. You could go live on the mountains, but guess what? Unless you're willing to like become a eunuch, you know what I'm saying, a eunuch, whatever the word is in English. Um, you are always going to be with yourself, and you are always going to have the choice to just masturbate. You know, it's funny, like when you're alone, obviously it's harder because you're alone, but this thing is actually so in your power all the time that you can do it anywhere, anytime you want, like unless there's someone there to stop you. This is only when you're alone, it's only within your power to stop yourself, and there is no external tricks here. That's why I said before, what I said before about the phone and having it always configured like that. That's good, but you cannot do that with your phone, so it's not a silver bullet. But what would be a silver bullet is to just have sovereignty over your own body, have self control, so that someday you decide, okay, how I stop masturbating, I stop watching pornography. Maybe in your case, you stop doing some drugs, alcohol, I don't know, whatever compulsive behavior you have, you can stop it. You decide someday, okay, I'll stop and I will not relapse. Like, when you think about it, doing it like for 2 years right now, if you have relapsed within the last week or 2 weeks, seems impossible, right? Seems totally unrealistic. But could you do it for one day? Like, I don't care how bad you think you are in this addiction. I think most people can actually say, yeah, I can do it for a day. And it's true. It's true. And you can push yourself. And I know some people use this trick like, oh, it's just going to be for a day, but like subconsciously, oh, but now another day and now another day. And your idea is to actually push this as long as possible, right? And so I think the trick just doesn't work because at the end of the day, it's not just for one day. But what I think could work if it's actually for one day or 7 days or a week, like, can you force yourself to not relapse, like do everything in your power so that to avoid the temptation at all cost of relapsing. Obviously you have to start with your mind, your environment, and obviously whenever the urges or the temptation arrives at yourself, at your life, you just call someone, you get out of the house, you do everything in your power, everything in your power to not relapse, to be free for a certain amount of time, and then you can relapse again. You are actually allowed to relapse for, I don't know, a day, once, and then you decide what to do next. It's a little counterintuitive, I guess, but it's just being honest. If you want to do this, like, try to do this, and this is what I'm going to do now. Today is June 4th of June 2026, and I relapsed yesterday, full relapse, not just masturbation, orgasm, was pornography as well, and I do not want to relapse again. Right? I'm going to turn 28 years old soon enough. And I remember 4 years ago, I think, I was close to, again, my birthday, and I think I have a journal entry somewhere. And I just wanted to get to my birthday clean, stay clean. Like, I wanted to, this is what I would tell myself, and I wanted to be able to say, I was a prisoner of this till this age. I never, since my 24th, 25th, ever since I was 25 years old, I've been free. Obviously, I cannot say that, but maybe I'll be able to say that ever since I became 28 years old, I've been completely free. And it wasn't like completely a step jump, but close to that date is when I decided to give it my all. Like, in the past, I have actually been free for over 3 weeks. And there is a really good podcast out there, in the Diary of a CEO podcast. I think it's, no, I don't remember the date, but it's about this doctor. She's a woman. She talks about the dopamine system and how she was addicted to these like romance novels or erotic novels, and she talks about addiction, and says that three weeks is when you start noticing changes in yourself. It starts being easier, and the neurological or the neural pathways are, noticeably different. Something like that. I may be, overstating what she said, but essentially, the 3 week mark, it's important to get there, and I've gotten there. I have gotten there in the past and relapsed. There was another guy who specializes in helping people with these type of problems, and he said that if you can get to 90 days, but like completely free, not with relapses, but with a peak, or with fantasizing, in your brain, like 90 days. That's that's powerful. That's powerful enough to give, because many reasons. I think one of them is that you have proven to yourself that you can do it. And honestly, this is so weird, because I've done something similar in the past, like I'm saying to you. Like, you don't want to relapse. Not really. It's not the type of person you want to be. But still you relapse. And I think if you're married, it's different. I'm single, and it's funny sometimes. I've seen this guy in YouTube that brags about essentially being free from pornography, masturbation, or mostly, but he sleeps around with any women he finds, and probably good quality women, because of his jacked, successful, whatever. But it's not the same fight. It's not the same fight. But the thing is, even for someone single, it's no excuse, because eventually I would like to get married, and just masturbating is not building the man I need to be in order to have a good marriage. For many reasons, there's a good book about this, and actually by Douglas Wilson, which I know it's a bit controversial. It's a controversial figure, but he has good books, and this is on the subject, and this is one of them. It's I think the book is called Purity: How to Be a one woman man, I think, and it's great. But again, not a silver bullet. There are no really silver bullets here. And yeah, I don't remember what I was going with this, what I wanted to say. Oh yeah, 90 days. So this guy says if you get to 90 days, you're proving, I say it's one of the reasons, you're proving to yourself that you can do it. And honestly, just think, I got an idea. Just think of how your life looks if you are in a relapse period right now, or if you have actually been free for a couple of weeks. Think about those periods of relapse, because usually relapses tend to, be sort of together, like relapsing like one time, like you were free 60 days, relapse one time, free another 60 days. That very rarely happens, at least in my experience. um, okay, just to make it quicker, just imagine you have a relapse period of 2 weeks. What do I mean by 2 weeks? Like in a period of 14 days, you have been relapsing on and off during those 14 days. Like in those 14 days, maybe you relapse 8 times. Maybe one day you relapse 2 times, then you went 2 or 3 days free, then you relapse again, like that, okay? So when you are in that situation, resisting the urge and resisting the temptation to relapse, it's hard, right? That's why you are relapsing. You it's just you fail, right? Because it's hard. So in the span of a couple days, you fight the urge to relapse many times, and eventually you give in. So what I want you to get from this is that, and myself also to get from this idea, is that in these situations we cannot go even for a couple of days without relapsing. Even a couple of days, just 2 or 3 days, you cannot go 2 or 3 days without relapsing. But then compare to maybe being completely free, like completely free for 3 weeks or 4 weeks. Before going for the 90-day mark, just 3 weeks or even 1 week. If you go 1 week, you already did something that when you were on those relapse periods couldn't do. And just as you were able to go 1 week, you can go another week. So you have been 2 weeks free. And you can keep going. So I think we, or people online, set these milestones: 30 days, 90 days, 3 weeks. For many reasons, right? Some of them have evidence, real scientific evidence. Some of them just have like testimonial evidence, anecdotal evidence. So they have the reasons to say these dates. But like, this is sort of, since how many days you have to be free from an addiction in order for you to consider yourself sober? Is it 90 days, 100 days, or is it just the day you stopped? You had your last glass of alcohol or your last cigarette yesterday, and today you're sober. It's over. Today you're free, and you're not going back. And let's say it's true. Say you stay the rest of your life free. Like when can you say you got sober, you get over, you beat the addiction? Was it in a year? or was it the day right after your last relapse or your last consumption of that drug? And so I think similar to that is this, like, how many weeks or days or months do we have to go free of these pornography or masturbation or lustful thoughts in order to say, okay, I've been free for X amount of days, now it's over. Like, the reality is, and this here I'm speculating because I've never been there, but I suspect that you're going to, even if you've been 90 days free, eventually some trigger is going to come. It's going to appear something on your screen, on the streets, or wherever, that's going to spark this neural pathway that is ideally half dead but still there, and you're going to have an urge to masturbate, probably, maybe to watch pornography. And if at that time you don't have a partner, you're just going to push through it. And the thing is, it should be the case, I think it's not always the case, but it should be the case, that the strongest urges should be the first ones you beat. Like, first month or 2 months should be the hardest, right? Month 48 shouldn't be the hardest, right? Because those neural pathways are half dead, right? So with this, I guess the idea of what I wanted to say is that, or the idea that I got is that one day is just enough. If you have been one day free, just go another day free and keep going, and the thing is, you have to try to block, right at the thought level, because if you give space to the thoughts and maybe search for something which is not pornography, but it's a woman in provocative position, even fully clothed, whatever, triggers you, it's incrementally harder. This is like when you start watching some category of pornography, and if you don't stop, it gets eventually worse and worse in that category or whatever. This has a name, like you constantly seek a bigger stimulation because the previous one doesn't do it. And so there's that. And so if you stay clean, right, it should become easier. So another thing, a couple months ago, sorry to extend this video, but a couple months ago I watched a video, and after that video I actually learned something from that video, because I say actually learn because I put something into action. It changed my behavior. Essentially I crafted like a go-to sentence. Whenever I had a lustful thought appear on my mind, I would say these words out loud, and it has to. Oh yeah, it has to be out loud. I think I forgot about that. It has to be out loud, because if it's just internal, it's using like the same networks in your brain. If you say something out loud, changes the neural networks that are activated in your brain. Like hearing and speaking uses different parts of the brain as opposed to just thinking. So you cannot stop that line, or it's harder at least to stop that, lustful thought with just another thought. It's easier if you speak about it loud and clear, so you can hear and you're speaking. Okay, so that's one thing you can do. And yeah, I don't remember the name of the video, but if I find out about it, I will share it with you. So anyhow, I've been talking a lot, so I'll just leave it here, and I will continue to do videos about what I'm doing about this. Obviously, I have a life, I have a job, I'm active in church, I'm studying for some things on my own. I'm not quite sure I have found my purpose, but also working towards that. I'm trying to stay fit, trying to find a wife. So I'm doing a lot of things. So doing this type of videos will have to continue to be just like this one. Little production, little to no production, and just speaking whenever I can. Have a good one.